Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dirt Hub All British podcast from myself, Ben Rumbold, and Dirt Hub owner Paul Ooten. Just looking back now on the British Championship Round 5 from Landrake down there on the south coast. An amazing, bright, sunshiny day, and it was a good day had by most. There were a few exceptions, of course, but here with Paul Ooten. Paul, you were tuning in on the live stream. How was it looking from there?
Yeah, no, live stream's very good. Being my local, would have loved to have been there, but unfortunately couldn't. But the next best thing, got the live stream, did a great job with that. We've seen the live stream in past struggle with following the riders, but they've certainly got that dialed in. Could really follow the racing. Yeah, and it was good to watch. I love Landrake. It looked, a sort of a well-worn phrase, but it was very hard to pass. You could tell that. You could tell it was quite frustrating. Looked quite demanding, and interestingly, what Conrad Mewse said, that he was riding as quick as he felt safe. And you could see that with a few riders that you could quite easily come unstuck. I think at Landrake there, but yeah, it looked like a good crowd. Sun was shining, and really enjoyed watching it on the stream.
Yeah, and it was good. I was on the microphone, and for trackside people, I think obviously Landrake is so good to watch anyway. And what was nice this year was they opened up a section of the track that isn't normally or hasn't been opened before for spectators. So spectators could walk across the top of the start straight and fill that gap around the sort of S bends past where the old finish line used to be. So they had a real nice section there, which Paul Irwin asked me to explain to people watching that they could go over there, and it filled up quite quickly. So that was quite nice to see just spectators in a different part of Landrake and able to check out a different view of the circuit, which looked pretty good. So yeah, it was a really good atmosphere down there, and yeah, you couldn't have wished for better weather. I mean, gorgeous for the crowd, maybe a bit more taxing for the riders who could have done with a bit more cloud cover, but yeah, it did make it tough. It was hot and the track baked hard. They did have the option to water it, but I think some of the top riders said don't, because it would just make it so slick that it would just be almost more dangerous than a bit of dust. So yeah, that's how the track went in the end.
It's a fine line, that one, and that track prep is such a tricky topic.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
a
envy any track prep guy, because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. But I I don't think, I wasn't riding, and obviously it's a bit different if you are riding. And I saw various people on social media. Some riders were saying they just weren't too bad, and other riders were saying it was. And I suppose it depends where you were in the field, I suppose. But
yeah.
from me looking out, it didn't look awful. You know what I mean? But like I said, sometimes if you douse it with water and just make it so slick, it goes the other way, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, for me, it reminded me very much of the GP at Matterley this year. You've got a seasoned track crew, they're experienced, they know the circuit. It's a hard packed circuit, so it's not as easy to manipulate as a sandy one or a softer soil one. And it just got so dry so quickly with a combination of crosswind and bright sunshine. There was just a lethal combination there of baking it as hard as it could possibly get. And yes, okay, you can say what you like, and armchair critics will have their thing, but it's just so tough to do when sometimes the conditions just catch you like that, because you could water something, and then it'll still be horrendous because you can't go again after that. So it's tough, tough for the track crews, but to be fair, it rode well. There were a couple of incidents, but no more than usual, really. So yeah, from that side, it still was a great day's racing as far as I could tell.
Yeah, and I thought the track crew did a great job. It looked fantastic, didn't it? So yeah, no, good. Looked good from my angle, and yeah, MX1, mate. I tell you, I've done the prediction points. It is very tight. It is very tight. But I ballsed MX1 up there. I really did. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard because Conrad Mewse, it doesn't seem to, he's been through quite a few injury issues this year. He's not been plain sailing by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't seem to affect him. Likewise, obviously we would delve into MX2 in a second, but likewise, Tommy Searle, you know what I mean? Like a broken back, no,
That was
only a
insane.
few weeks back, really, essentially. So, but yeah, Conrad Mewse, yeah, he, like I said, he said that he was riding as quick as he felt safe to ride, and he said, luckily for him, it was just about quick enough to get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, for Conrad, I mean, kind of some of us did maybe say, actually, it'd be quite nice if Conrad didn't get the start. So sorry, Conrad, and the team there, but yeah, it did make it a little bit more exciting. And well, what can you say? I mean, a great ride to come all the way back. He was 10th across the stripe um, of the finish line, which is 4 or 5 corners after the start. So that's that's where he was after 5 corners. I mean, around the first corner, I didn't even see him. So he really did come through well. And Adam Sterry made a great move to get past Josh Gilbert early on and tried to make the break. So yeah, he Conrad had 10 seconds to catch when he was in third. He stood at 10 seconds to haul in when he got up to third place past Taylor Hamill. So, and that was still with just over half the race left. So you kind of thought, yeah, this could well be possible. But yeah, I mean, like you say, he had a crash at Monster Mountain there. It didn't hurt him as bad as maybe it looked at that time. So, and obviously, like he said, he was impatient in trying to get past Josh Gilbert at Monster Mountain, and that's what resulted in that crash. So he didn't want to make the same mistake again. Didn't want to. So he's learning from his errors, and as all riders are learning all the time. He's just making those little adjustments, not panicking, and really setting about his task. So yeah, it was a fantastic ride from Conrad Mewse. The unbeaten streak is still on the run now, 10 races in a row, and it's just a case of can he beat Jeffrey Hurlings 4 times in Scotland is the main question now.
Wow, you know what? Conrad is the king of Scotland. Really, he's really good in Scotland, and he's got a lot of experience there. And to be fair, we saw at this round, especially in Moto One, more specifically MX2, that the British riders really did take it to the the more experienced GP guys as well. So it might take maybe day one could really favour the guys that got experience in Scotland, and then maybe day two some of the GP riders come to the fore. Being that sort of 2 round format up there. But yeah, Conrad. The thing that impressed me with Conrad was his line choice, because most people were sticking with pretty similar lines. Yet he was finding some pretty special lines, especially that tight line. After I think it was after the waves coming up the hill, he was using that tight line to make up massive amounts of ground and make moves, which no one else was doing. Interestingly, when he got ahead in that second race, when he got ahead of Sterry, he moved lines. He didn't use that line again. And I was wondering if he didn't want to show Adam that line. So he kept it up his sleeve, because he didn't drop Adam, did he?
No, he didn't. No, Adam stayed with him. I mean, got to remember that Adam was 12th overall at Lockett in very similar conditions, which makes you wonder where Conrad would be at GPs, with the speed he's shown. But even so, I mean, yeah, like you say, that line in particular was very special because he came off 2 uphill jumps, scrubbed it slightly, and then just cut the corner, just took the corner earlier and went across the bumps. It was a gorgeous line. And yeah, he really did show his class there. So also, I noticed on the Motul S-Bends, the ones up by that new spectator area, that he was going wider into that left-hander, the initial corner, than everyone else. Everyone else was going tight, defensive, left-hand lines, but he was just missing the bumps on the outside, and it meant you didn't have to change course after the jump because you naturally took over the jump and landed on the right-hand side, and he just stayed out there and railed the outside and gained time an awful lot. So. And Tommy had a similar line that made things interesting, but we'll talk about that when we get to MX2.
Yeah, and I think, the story of MX1, we've got that with the Conrad taking 1-1. Josh Gilbert, looked good in front of the local fans, which, really enjoyed that. He got second overall, Adam Sterry third. But I think the story is some of the riders that had career bests
Yeah.
in there. Just going down, Taylor Hamill, two really good rides, and he wasn't far off those top three, probably the closest he's been, I'd say. And starting to look really at home on a 450 now. John Adamson in fifth, probably the best meeting we've seen of him this year, as well. And I think that, you go down the order, Tom Grimshaw, he's really starting to come back now, isn't he? After his injury, we saw so Tom Grimshaw was sixth, Dan Thornhill seventh, season best for Dan. It's been a bit of a slow year for Dan Thornhill, but yeah, his EMX Open escapades a couple of weeks back, was promising and again good. And then you got the local boy Louis Kessel. That is, a fantastic result for Louis. When they put so much, him and his dad put so much work into their racing, traveling up and down the country. And I think, I think, that brought a smile to my face seeing Louis do so well.
Yeah, me too. It was great to see. I mean, he's a big lad, so I'll always cheer for the tall man because I'm there myself. But yeah, it's just so good to see. And he is a young rider. He moved up to MX1 early purely because of the size of him. He is a big lad, and he's gone up there. He's still, I think, 21 at the most. I don't think he's even that much. It's certainly that sort of region. And I'll check exactly, but yeah, I mean, all these people having best results, cynics might say, well, it's because people are out. Well, there's only really Jamie Carpenter through injury and Brad Todd over in America that are the two riders you might think are sort of missing, which is helping these riders get better results. And of course, what happened to Tristan Purden. But I mean, you've got riders there that really are digging in. I mean, Tom Grimshaw's come off a tricky shoulder injury, not been very easy for him at all. Sixth place. He was all over John Adamson, but John's a tricky customer to pass at the best of times. This time, and he's got a reputation, so people are always a little bit wary. And John added to the reputation. I'm sorry, John, I've got to bring it up. Practice. I looked up from the commentary point, looked left, and there was some kerfuffle, yellow flags, and John had gone barreling into the mechanics area over the berm after the finish line, just holding the gas on to get the lap time, and just didn't make the corner. So yeah, he sent the bike into the mechanics area, and there was all sorts of scuffling going on there. But he went for it, and as he always does, and you can't fault that. He's such a great character. So yeah, fifth overall for John was great for him. Tom as well. Dan Thornhill. I mean, we were saying last week that he's a Sandman now. That hard pack is a little bit more tricky for him. Shut us all up with that one. Seventh place was fantastic for him. And Louis Kessel, brilliant. And also Charlie Putnam. I mean, he's been getting some good starts, and I dare say he should have another child because he's got quicker since he's been a dad, I reckon, for sure. So yeah, and of course it was a real treat to get him on the post race show as well. He's always a great character to watch and to speak to, and I thought, well, that'll be a nice way to end the little broadcast there. So that was quite nice. But yeah, great stuff from all of those guys. Massive shame though for Tristan Purden. He rode so well in race one, and he got the beating there of Sterry and Hamill, and just rode superbly. And he was in a similar sort of position, but yeah, just lost it there in the in that tight section. In fact, no, he didn't have such a good start, did he? He was outside the top 10 at one point, I think. So yeah, Tristan had to fight back, and sadly the Cornish Clay has claimed him, which is a real shame. It was just a simple washout as far as I could tell. Just a real shame, and it almost impacted the battle for the lead as well because the yellow flag threw up some confusion.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Yeah, like I said, it was almost like Conrad and Josh. No, you go. No, you go. Do you know what I mean? Like they were sort of like letting each other pass. Yeah, I think they were just confused on whether they passed on the wave yellows or didn't. Josh wasn't sure if he did pass Conrad on the yellows, and so sort of let him have it back. Yeah, it was confusing.
He did. I mean, he did pass him on the yellow flag. Josh was absolutely right to pull over because for sure Mr. Thorpe would have been on the case with that one because he did pass him the first yellow flag at the top of the hill. Now Tristan was on the floor behind the start gate, which is down the hill and around a corner again. But still, it's a yellow flag. And, Josh, it was a lovely undercut as well. It was a really nice pass back. But yeah, for sure, it was under a yellow flag. And he was exactly right to move over there because there would have been controversy, especially if Conrad was then held up by another lap or two and would not have had enough time to chase down Adam. But that's something that it's just one of those things. I mean, Adam also himself was very careful down the yellow flags. Dare I say he was almost more careful than Josh and Conrad were. He was visibly cruising as he left my sight going down the hill. So you could tell there that he was off the gas more than some of the other guys were, I think. But, it's just so tough in a situation like that. So Yeah, real shame for Tristan and a real shame it impacted the race. But even so, we just hope that Tristan gets better because it's a real shame, and especially because he's down for the nations, of course. So for him to miss that would be a real nightmare for him.
Yeah, because just looking at the standings as well, he's still in that fourth spot. He's got a little gap, but obviously he was right on the cusp with Josh Gilbert. If he'd have had another 20 points there, he would have been only 4 points off of Josh Gilbert then for third. So yeah, it sort of really hampered his chance of a podium. And yeah, he's riding just so well, wasn't he? And yeah, big blow for the team, and a big blow for, like I said, South Africa. But let's touch wood, he can come back from that. Another shout out for a local, Josh Taylor, come 12th overall. Josh Taylor, every Patch Quit trophy. Sadly, no Patch Quit trophy this year. Every Patch Quit trophy, Josh Taylor gets in amongst the pro riders, gets his elbows out. He's great to watch. He loves mixing it with the big boys. So that was a really good result from him, 12th overall.
Yeah. Yeah, he rode superbly well. I mean, he was right in amongst them, like you say, in amongst the big boys. And as always, I called him Josh Coleman by mistake. So I'm sorry to you two guys, but you've got the same first name and almost the same race number. So it just messes me up. It's one of those mental blocks. So really sorry for that. I'm interested to know where Charlie Cole was. I didn't get a chance to speak to the team, but Charlie Cole didn't ride. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there.
He's
And
got
then
an injury that they're hoping for him to be back for Duns with the new 772 Kawasaki team. So yeah, I think they're hoping he's going to be back for Duns.
cool. Fingers crossed for him then. Yeah. So, I mean, there are a couple of riders that are missing as well. Jason Mira obviously isn't around at the moment. Sam Nunn. So, there are a couple of guys that aren't in there. But even so, it was great to see such good results for Tom Grimshaw, for John Adamson, and also for Dan Thornhill, Louis Kessel, Charlie Putnam. All those guys did supremely well. Martin Bard probably disappointed with 10th overall. He just didn't seem to have the fire, the spark. Just didn't seem to have much to dig into, sadly. So, yeah, we just hope that Martin's able to pull around and have a good result up at Duns because, yeah, I think he likes it up there.
Yeah, there's a few riders that probably didn't do quite what we expected. Carl Husband won. Chris Mills didn't really have a great one either, really. Obviously, Joel Rizzi, not sure what the issue was with Joel. I've got a press release here actually from Dirt Store. I was just going to read that. But yeah, another sort of meeting where Joel didn't quite get going. Yeah, it
I
doesn't
mean,
really say much, of a bit of a crash. Doesn't say a lot. Yeah, just said that Joel and George share bad luck. But yeah, it's just not going his way at the moment, is it?
no, that's it. He's putting a couple of promising rides up at Monster Mountain, and he's doing his best, I think. But at the moment, it's just not clicking. He's a confidence rider. He goes off of he feeds off of good starts and good results, and he can get up the start and hold a race. But battling in the pack, and especially now it's the MX1 pack, not the MX2 pack. That for me is something that I think he's struggling with because he's getting grief from everybody, and yeah, he's not used to that. So yeah, it's tricky for Joel right now. I think the change in class has been as much of a challenge as the change of bike, but I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know exactly what's happening there, as nobody will until they talk to him as buddies or whatever. But yeah, it's just tricky for Joel. You can see he's struggling. Carlton Husband hated the track, hated hated the life there. He really was not happy. I think there were comments that if we come down here next year, I'm not coming or something like that. I think he really didn't like it, and that's just he had quite a sizable crash as well up those Motul S bends. He just hit the soft berm and went right over the bars. And I was watching him at the time because I think somebody was on his back wheel. I can't remember who. But yeah, Carlton went for a ball to short there, and yeah, it wasn't his day, which was a shame because he had some decent pace in practice anyway.
Yeah, a couple more mentions. I was just going to say James Dodd, the AMCA British champion, DNF in the first one, but a good 13th in the second moto. As we said, James just seems to be getting better, to be honest. He really is, and he could well be if he really focused on the British Championship, I think he could be a top 10 rider,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
he's very consistent as well normally. Um, so
yeah,
yeah.
He wasn't far behind. I mean, he finished behind Carlton Husband there. He wasn't far behind Carlton. He had Joel Rizzi and Stuart Edmonds and Liam Knight behind him. So these are decent people that he's beaten there. So that was pretty sweet. If I may just add a name as well, Dan Mundell, the enduro rider, ISDE guy. Now he such a cool guy. Only met him at Monster Mountain. He did the second round there. And yeah, he's been working on his pace, and we wish him best of luck for the ISDE because he's a nice kid and a nice guy to talk to. And he was good enough to say, "Oh, I got a photo. Somebody took a photo of me over Monster Mountain tabletop jump, and you're in it." It literally it's me pointing at him in the foreground. So it's quite a nice. I'm literally just pointing at him like going for it because I was going for it that race. So yeah, it's quite a nice shot because he's in silhouette, and yeah, you've got me pointing at him, and it's quite a nice sort of shot. So it was massive thanks to Dan. He even sorted out the airdrop to me, so that was quite nice. So yeah, I said, "Oh, I don't know how to do it," and he's like, "Pop, pop, got it sorted, airdropped, and it was on my phone before I knew it." So yeah, really nice for Dan to do that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, Dan's a great guy, and he's 2024 British Enduro champion. And what I liked about it, there was no motocross bike. He was riding his enduro bike.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, that is just so cool to see. And I think he was getting right in the mix as well. He was having some really good battles. And I think some of the riders were like, who is this guy?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. It was good to see. Yeah, he was battling out with Travis Steele, Josh Canton, and a few of the guys down there. So yeah, it was tricky, but yeah, he's got stuck in. It was cool. Scored points in both races too.
Yeah, fair play. So championship standings wise, obviously Conrad Mewse, clean sweep so far, 250. Adam Sterry is 43 points down now. So the
Yeah,
chances are, if Conrad, especially if you stick Jeffrey Hurlins in between some of these riders, the chances are that Conrad could be crowned champ at Duns.
yeah. I mean, I did the maths on this. He's now if we take Jeffrey Hurlings is there as well. So let's just factor that in. The vital thing was that fifth place in race one for Adam because that gave Conrad a 9 point jump. And then obviously the second race, it was just the 3 point jump. But basically 43 points now. There's 4 races at Duns. If Jeffrey wins all of them and Conrad's second in all of them, and Adam's third in all of them, then Conrad is champion. Simple as that. Because if he makes 8 points, the key number is 50 points. So he's got to be 50 points ahead at Ling. He's won more races automatically, so any tie break goes Conrad's way. But yeah, he's 50 points. If he's 50 points up going into Ling, he's champion. Simple as. And if he basically Adam Sterry has to beat Conrad in a race. If they're second and third, or even first and second, or first and third, then it's over. Conrad's going to seal it in at Duns if Adam does not put himself ahead of Conrad in at least one of the races.
Interesting. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, 4 races, 2 points per race is 8 points. That would put him 51 ahead, and that's it. Title done.
yeah, and Conrad's good at Duns. It's hard to see that not happening, but I think
Yeah.
and to be fair, if he does that, will we see him do some other wild cards elsewhere because the pressure's off? That would be interesting to see. What
Well,
GPs have we got after Duns?
he's not doing GPs. I can tell you that now categorically. He's not doing them. He's not
Right.
doing
Okay.
any more Grand Prix. He basically said because his intention was Lommel and Arnhem at least.
Yeah.
But he missed Lommel because of Monster Mountain and obviously the wrist injury. Basically, in his own words, it's not worth paying out for a Grand Prix license just to do one round. So that's as simple as that. That's what he told us categorically in the signing tent before the weekend. So yeah, no GPs for Conrad this year. The Prox Pit Pass is worth a watch. If you see that, the British Championship Prox Pit Pass from Preston Docks. I watched it on the way down. Well, I had it playing in the car on the way down, and yeah, Conrad is basically saying there he gets a lot of stick for not doing the GPs. He laughs about it, and fair enough. But as he also says, he's not a millionaire. He's not. It costs a lot of money to do GPs these days to get nothing back. So for him, in his current situation, it would be purely for experience and to move himself forward. To be fair, does he need it in the UK? Not really. So in the future, I've heard rumours that he might want more, that he might want to do more GPs. I've heard rumours that he might be searching for something else there, but that's only rumours, and who knows?
I think first job, get that British Championship, get
Yeah,
that done, get that, because obviously you missed out last year. get the British Championship done, and then I think, like I said, it gives him some freedom. Then I think then to explore other things because he would have had that one under his belt. Talking of championships under your belt, a rider that has got many championships under his belt and is looking good for another one. Tommy Searle, mate. We didn't even have him in our top fives. We thought he was going to be like, right, damage limitation. He's going to be sore, hard pat track on your back. Do you know what I mean? Like just grinding out an eighth, seventh. Nah, not. You know what? My admiration for Tommy Searle has just gone up just tenfold. Fair play. Like he just rode phenomenally well. Like that was an absolute. And in terms of lines, like this guy is the king of lines, isn't he? Just finding different lines, defending lines, passing Oriel Oliver back. You know, he's a GP rider. He's a guy that led the British GP. Tommy
Yeah,
passed him back, and yeah, just managed that race. And yeah, I think the experience means a lot. But I really do feel that Tommy's vlogs underplay how much hard work he puts in, but also how much he wants it. It's interesting because just going to Moto 1, Ben Musto got his first race win and
yeah,
rode absolutely fantastically. Tommy said he goes, I almost felt bad that I wanted to win Moto 1 ahead of Ben, but I did want to win it. And he did go for it. But fair play to Ben Musto. Got a big props to Ben because that is a huge, I wouldn't say a monkey off his back because he's still young, but it is a huge achievement for a young rider to win a British Championship race. But it wasn't just the British Championship race. As we said, he had Tommy Searle behind him. You've got Oriel Oliver, Kay Carsmakers, Guy and Dunson, all these riders that have got GP experience that were nowhere near him.
yeah. Ollie Colmer, scored points at Lommel the week before,
Yeah.
the GPs, and at the GP, not any MX250 in the Grand Prix. So this is stuff that Ben has. He's to me, he's kind of a Cooper Webb type character. He's got this chip on his shoulder where he feels like he's not really as appreciated as he deserves to be. But you've got to open your eyes to what Ben can do because that start was stunning. He's been starting well all year. That's been the foundation of his championship, starting well and sticking around. And he just let nobody get past him. And even when Tommy started to get close, I mean, everybody knows what's happened between Tommy and Billy Askew at Cullum, at Blacksall when he passed him on the last corner. So you know that Tommy's going to push all the way to the checkered flag. At the start of the weekend, I wasn't sure where Tommy was. Charlie Heyman was all over the back wheel of Tommy on the opening laps of race one for second place, and I thought Charlie's got to pass him now, or Ben's going to run away with this, because I didn't think Tommy had the pace that he had or the staying power that he had. So fair play for Searle. I mean, he's just a stubborn old geezer, isn't he? He's not going to let anyone past him. So simple as. And yeah, it was a shock because I didn't think he would have that in him after having the time off, but he just showed the sort of class he's got, which is annoying for everyone else, but pretty incredible, really. So yeah, undeniable how good Tommy is there.
And we didn't mention him in the Nations when we were talking about the Nations team, but let's be fair, MX2, put him on a 250 in America. Why not?
Well, you've got factory triumphs out there that are probably going to go unused. Harrop will certainly run one the Nations, but Jalik Swoles is going to be available, so he's been out there in the States. Tommy will have a good bike if he's got the option to go out there, and it's okay. You might say it's a sad indictment that we're still putting a 35-year-old in the MX2 bike, but come and beat him to prove it better. You can't deny what he's done there this weekend. Been incredible. It was incredible.
And interesting, Ben Musto said in his interview as well, one of the reasons he really wanted to beat Tommy, he said, Tommy shouldn't be winning this. As a young rider, he should be stepping up now.
Yeah.
And you got to agree with that. But at the same time, you can't discount how good Tom, let's be fair. He is a multi-time world number two. like Tommy Searle, I still don't think he still gets enough credit for that. You
No,
know,
I mean,
he's world number two against someone who has been named the fastest man on the planet.
what, two people who named, I mean, two of the names that he finished second to in the World Championship, and he was three times second. Two of those names, Jeffrey Hernings, Antonio Cairoli, two of the top three most successful riders of all time. Those are the only two people that kept him back off an MX2 title. He goes 5 years before, he's double champion, easy. He goes 5 years after, he's probably double champion, easy. But, he just hit Hernings and Cairoli at the worst point, and Tyler Rattray was the other one. So, it's he was in seriously good company like 10 to 15 years ago. And, he's still got that track smarts and all the determination and the fitness. And like I say, the vlog has kept him going. Because he wants to be the boy. He said that before. He wants to be the boy when he puts these vlogs out. And yeah, they still can't beat the old git.
Another Nations vlog. Yeah. So
But yeah, great to see Charlie Heyman second overall. He certainly deserved that. Pole position as well, fastest man in qualifying. Charlie is right now riding the wave, and he just needs that extra bit of push to get past riders like Tommy on a track like Landrake. Heyman, this is where Heyman just slightly did, like you've said before, just slightly lacked that aggression and that ability to make that savage move, to basically to give his pace the positions that it justifies. He is such a talented rider. Just that extra bit of aggression to get, especially to make passes, is the real missing link at the moment. But Charlie, he had Oriol Oliver getting nowhere near him, Kai Cars makers as well. In race one, they couldn't catch him. And the same with Billy Askew as well, so all of these names. What's been great about this year in MX2 is that we were talking about, Tommy, Oriol Oliver, Guillaume Duenson, and obviously now Kai Carsmakers has joined the fray. We've got all these names, but we've got two young Brits in Ben Musto and Charlie Heyman that we didn't think we'd have in the equation. Ollie Colmer is knocking on the door as well. But, it's great that we've got these two or three young British riders, four if you add Billy Askew, that have got a chance. So if those four can get together, bang their heads together, or just basically get into MX2 with good pace and carry on this progress, it's a much more exciting time to be a British motocross fan. But
I
we'll see how
think
it goes.
both Charlie and Ben Musto this year, from the start of the year to now, they've made massive progress. Charlie Heyman really has made progress, riding with the 450s in Scotland, and that has made a massive difference. He's a good interview with Edward on our site at the moment with Charlie. So Charlie's got two rounds in America coming up. Duns, he's good in Scotland. Charlie Heyman, Scottish champion, leading the Scottish Championship. Duns will have no fears whatsoever for Charlie Heyman. He's going to have 2 meetings in America. The pace is intense there. I could see Duns being standout for Charlie Heyman.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that would be really good. Interesting to see what you could do in the States. You can get in the points up there. That's a great shakes. And yeah, for sure, he's flown from under the radar, but he's basically just done what we all expected him to do 2 or 3 years ago, which is great. So yeah, I mean, behind Charlie, then the European contingent struck back in race two. I mean, race one for the GP stroke EMX boys wasn't particularly great. I mean, you had Kai Karsmaker sixth, Oriol Oliver couldn't move forward from seventh, which was a shock to everybody, especially us two who picked him for 1-1. But yeah, and then the other Gabriel SS24 KTM guys had a real nightmare. Guillaume Duenson and Max Werner 12th and 13th in race one, and it didn't even get that much better for them in race two either. So yeah, for sure those lads will be scratching their heads. But yeah, in the end, Oliver and Kai Kazmakers came back and they gave Tommy everything in race two, everything they could. But as Tommy said himself, when he passed Oliver back, he could feel the wind going out of his sails, and it really was like that.
And you can see that quite often, isn't it? And Tommy knows, he's got the experience to know that if you can get a rider straight back, that is your best chance to get them. Just as they sort of got ahead of you, if you can get them straight away, it really does dent a rider's confidence a little bit, doesn't it? Because they almost think they're going to pull clear, and then suddenly, you know what I mean? They're on the back foot again, and yeah, Tommy just knows that, doesn't he? He knows exactly
Well,
what to do. It was a great move as well, how he lined that up.
Yeah, I mean, we saw at the GP with Febvre and Coonan the week before, how he passed him back and he knew he had to. And, Tommy's been that rider, so he knows exactly what it's like. I mean, that's where experience comes in. But yeah, he nipped him back and, yeah, just didn't move. I mean, that's just how it was. So Cars Makers was sat there like praying they would both go down, but it didn't happen. And that was that. So yeah, good to know that Cars Makers is going to be doing the rest of the GPs, including the flyaways with Steve Dixon. That was an interesting thing to take from the post-race chat that I had with him there on the video. So yeah, you can catch up with that on Dirt Hub's YouTube channel, of course. But yeah, then I've got to have a little word I think about. Well, we say Billy Askew, obviously, fifth overall behind Cars Makers, but sixth overall, Joe Brooks. What a comeback ride for him.
Yeah, how good was he? Good starts as well. And it, just faded a little bit towards the end of the motos. Understandably, it's been a long time he's been out. But, how good was his pace early doors? You have to say, with all that time out, if he's that good now, you stick a few more rounds under his belt, come the end of this season, based on how good he was, you couldn't put a podium out of his reach, really, to be fair. Yeah, really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking for him in the break between qualifying and the racing just to see because he didn't have a team name written down. I could see he's on Triumph, but I was like, I could have sworn he was on a team. And then I looked round, he wasn't with the Callum Mitchell Works Scaffolding Triumph team. And then someone said, yeah, he's up the far end and he's on his own. There's no stickers on the bike, in terms of like sponsors, it's just the Triumph branding and that's it. So completely on his own. Second in qualifying was stunning, and then yeah, to come through with 8-6 race finishes for sixth overall. Fantastic. And we know Joe is good around there. I remember him being the only 125 to beat a pack of 250s in the youth class when they combined down there a few years ago. But yeah, even so, good to know as well that he's doing the EMX 250 this weekend in Sweden. So yeah, he's out there to bring his pace back up and try and secure a good ride for next year, I guess.
Cool, yeah, and I did do an interview with him, but it was in my just before uh I was in a comatose state. That's all I can say. So I can only remember a little bit of it, and I actually can't find where I'd written it up. So sorry about that, Joe. But he is a privateer. He literally is doing it. He's just worked out that doing his own thing is the best way for him and his family, really. And yeah, I suppose in a way it takes the pressure off him. Especially coming back from an injury. But it's certainly, the setup's certainly working for him. You cannot fault him.
Yeah, underrated talent. And yeah, been very good to see a good result from him this weekend.
Yeah, and a rider that I suppose what it sort of gets said a lot, and it is in the Crendon 27 Honda PR says it. He's a full-time working MD, part-time rider, but Jake Nichols is still there or thereabouts. Seventh place overall for Jake Nichols. Again, he's not making good starts either. A lot of the time, he's having to work through the pack as well to get the results he is. And what you can't fault his stamina either. And
No,
that's right. Because he seems to come good towards the end of the motos.
yeah, solid. I mean, coming through and passing people like Werner, Glenn McCormick, I think he worked his way past as well. So, he's holding back a couple of kids who've got eyes on future professional careers there. And yeah, Jake's kind of making them scratch their heads a little bit there. But that's again, as a class rider, very nearly a Grand Prix winner. And just a few injuries denied him, especially that British Championship where he lost it with a round to go. That was such a crying shame for Jake. So should have been a British champion. And yeah, he's just proving his class really. He's a good rider and he's proving it, and he's still enjoying it, which is great, even if he can't give full time to it because he's basically running a company, and it's no small company. That's a big old affair. So can't imagine anybody who works for these big companies can't imagine their MD going out and doing that on a weekend. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Do you know what? And the staff have a massive amount of respect for him as well. And I have to say, just everything about that company is professional. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, I've got. It's hard not to say anything more positive about Jake Nichols and uh how good his business acumen is, as well as how good he is on track. To be fair,
Yeah, for
having
sure.
dealt with him, having him support us with Rocket Till Sundown and the Airborne Gunner Supercross, if it weren't for him, I said it a lot, but if it wasn't for Jake and his team and the people that come out and helped us with the lighting and everything like that, we wouldn't have been able to run that meeting. And I think,
Yeah,
especially in Speedway as well, he supports two Speedway teams as well, Sheffield Tigers and the Ipswich Witches. I think those two Speedway teams would struggle to run without their support. So I think a lot of that goes unnoticed, to be fair,
definitely.
how much he does put into the sport as well.
Just a word there. We did sort of brush over him slightly, but Billy Askew there must be disappointed with fifth overall. 4 or 5 races, just didn't quite get the starts. Starts were so important, and I just didn't think he was as snappy as he could have been at the gate, and that's basically what's happened, I think. But yeah, he'll be disappointed with that because to be 1 point behind Tommy and then leave the meeting 14 points behind, then that certainly is not what he was after. So we'll see what he can do. We'll see if he can bounce back at Duns.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was a bit of a quiet one for Billy, and I think he would have expected more. But like I said, it starts were all right, but it didn't quite put him at that sharp end where he probably needed that toe from the faster boys ahead. He was sort of in that sort of sixth, seventh sort of position where the front guys just got away and he couldn't quite sort of latch onto them.
Yeah, just no man's land, and he managed to pass Brooks towards the end when Joe was tiring a little bit, but he couldn't make an impression on Charlie in either race. So for Billy, I think just put it down to the fact that it's hard packed, maybe not his superbly favourite surface, and then he moves on to the next one, puts it behind him. I think it's probably the best way forward.
Yeah, so Jake Nichols seventh, Ben Musto eighth. Obviously, we mentioned got his first pro win under his belt, but a fall in the second one, and he went off holding his wrist. But looking on social media, it doesn't sound like there's anything too bad there for him, which is lucky because he's still a title contender. Just looking at the standings, especially riding like that as well. Like it was a real standout ride, and he's had a standout season. So he is 28 points down on Tommy Searle now. Like I said, Billy Askew is 14 down, and Charlie Heyman 15. So you probably say now the title was 5 riders in it, but Gian Doonson's tailed off too much now. So Tommy Searle, Billy Askew, Charlie Heyman, and Ben Musto are the 4 contenders. Although you know what, Tommy has just eked that gap out there and looking good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a real shame for Ben. I mean, he's been the winner in the MX2 class at Monster Mountain both rounds so far. So he's collected a bit of nice pocket money from them, and also had a good play with the 450s in the super finals. So I think I hope that hopefully we'll see Ben tomorrow afternoon in at Monster Mountain. But who knows if he's bashed his wrist? Probably might want to give it a miss. But we'll see. Hopefully he's there to collect a little bit more cash and entertain him because he has been top quality, the top 250 rider at those Monster Mountain meetings by a stretch.
And I think, the same we were saying about Charlie Heyman, he's been doing the same in the Scottish Championship, riding with the 450. Ben's been doing that over at Monster Mountain. I think this is really helping him. It's really helping him. One, track craft. I'm sure just watching the lines, like we said, being mixed with Conrad and Josh Gilbert and that in Wales, and the same with Charlie up in Scotland. What they're learning from racing with these guys is so invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's a charger, and it's great to see a young lad coming up and having that success. I mean, both him and Charlie, advocates of the let's win at home first and then move on philosophy. They haven't gone to EMX and thrashed their brains out. They thought we'll stick in the UK. Obviously, Ben's had to finish school, and they're just pressing on, and now they're proving that okay, they're building their confidence at home. And let's see what they could do next year if they can take it to EMX and have this similar sort of form. They both got top 10 finishes at Matterley Basin. So if they can reflect that around the continent, they could be a championship contender in that field, which then puts you right in the map. So, this is ever the optimist. I just want to see these guys go and beat some foreign ass.
Yeah, and they're
But yeah,
definitely, and we need that. We've been sort of lacking some British success, haven't we? Some British riders to really cheer on, and it was good at Matley, to see Charlie doing so well and Ben doing so well. And yeah, we need a bit more of that for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Further back then, the Champions KTM, Glenn McCormick had a solid weekend, 11th and 9th for 7th overall. Kind of benefited from other riders having off weekends in terms of his overall position there. And then actually, no, that's 7th in the championship. My mistake. Whoops. Sorry. Done it again. Drop the ball.
So, well, yeah, he's seventh, like I said, seventh championship, but you only have to look. He's only 9 points off of Gian Dunson in fifth. And that's been, solid has been the order of the day for Glenn McCormack. He's been solid all the way through. Every round, 2 good scores every single time.
Yeah. And then the Gabriel SS24 KTM guys, 10th and 11th overall for Max Verner and Guillaume Duinson, not where they wanted to be, not where the team would have wanted them to be. You could say, okay, Duinson is Dutch, he should be better in sand, but he was second overall at Ernée. So, that's as hard pack as it gets at GP level. So, what's happening there when he goes to Landrake, we don't know. Max Verner is German. He should be fine on a grass landy circuit like that. It should be second nature. So obviously, Max has not had the best of seasons with his injuries, and he's still coming back into it a little bit. Race 2 is a bit better for him, 8th place, but still, again, passed by Jake Nichols. So, you've got to sort of start to wonder what's happening with those two lads. But who knows? The Gabriel boys will work on it. They're no mugs, that team. Sean Simpson will work on them. And, they had Oliver on the podium, which is great for them. And then, the two lads there will come back and bounce again, I'm sure. So EMX 250, they're straight back out on some more rocky hard pack. So they'll have to take the lessons and change the setup, ready for Sweden.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Sean Simpson not being best pleased with that result. He seems, as a team manager, obviously you get to see him at the GPs all the time. I can imagine him being a pretty hard taskmaster, and the British Championship, Sean Simpson expects to be challenging for wins and podiums every week. And why wouldn't you? To be fair, with the talent you got on show, so yeah, I can imagine him not being that happy.
Yeah, won the title last year with Cas Valk and was also challenging for EMX 250 championship honours. Took wins in that class with Cas Valk, but he said at the start of the year they were spoiled a little bit by Cassie's kind of pace there. Dunson and Werner, it's down to what they can do next, really, and how they close out the year is the vital factor. 3 rounds to go in the MX 250, Sweden, Netherlands, and Turkey. So for those guys, that's where they need to really get in amongst that top 5. Podium positions would be really what Dunson certainly will be after.
Yeah, definitely. Talking of top 5s, Callum Mitchell, top 5 in the first heat race for him. That was a really good ride from Callum Mitchell. Sadly, didn't quite go to plan with the second moto. Then he had a big crash that put him out of that one. But
First corner. It was my first corner crash that put him right to the back, and
the
then
first time with it.
Back to the points. Yeah, that was the thing with Callum. It was the first corner incident that put paid to his second race, which was a real shame because got a great start, worked scaffolding triumph, got it right up there. At one point, I think in race 2, we saw 4 triumphs in the top 6 with Askew, Searle, and Brooks and Mitchell. So it was a really cool thing to see that all the 4 black bikes out of 6 at the top order. So that was nice. But he's Callum Mitchell, really good to see that pace from him. He hasn't had that sort of showing all year. So that's showing the promise that he had early in the season is finally coming out there. So hopefully more to follow from him.
And he's riding Speedway as well. So, there's a lot of people that have done Speedway and motocross or done one or the other, but to do both at the same time at a good level is really hard to do. And fair play to him for that, because, to ride Speedway one day and motocross the next, not just at a club level, but at a pro level, that takes some doing. And he sort of played down his Speedway career, but me knowing Speedway, I'm not going to play it down because I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, because that is not an easy mix, I'm telling you. So fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean that will help his starting technique for sure. Let's face it. If you can start like a Speedway rider, you're up there, aren't you?
Yeah, you've got to have lightning reactions in Speedway. So yeah, it's not going to hurt for sure.
And stuff. And then further back from Callum, there, Josh Vale We know he's more of a sand lover than hard pack, but still, first race didn't go very well at all. Second race, 11th. He'll be disappointed with that, but try and take that forward. Tyler Hooley as well, 14th overall, which is kind of where Tyler's found himself at the moment in the British Championship. Just working through them a bit quickly there. Freddie Bartlett, they've had issues there with the 772 Kawasaki team. Haven't quite got both sides of the story. But yeah, he was lining up with Ultimate Wheels badges. So the team that ran Louis Kessel a year or so ago. Yeah, so that's now where Freddie's found himself. And yeah, we'll see what he can do from here. But hopefully Freddie will be able to find a decent bike to move on. He's not doing Sweden, so we'll see what the rest of his year is looking like, because at the moment it looks like the original plans have gone out the window.
Yeah, which is a shame. Again, people don't realise that Freddie is he 15 or was he 16 now?
I think he's just 16. Yeah,
Just 16. So he's a really young kid. So yeah, a
yeah,
lot of potential from him.
yeah. Ollie Colmer, 10th in race one. He was chased across the line by McCormick, like really, really close. The two of them across the line, end of race one. Didn't see what happened in race two. So whether he was involved in a similar incident that messed up Callum Mitchell's race, I don't know. But Ollie, yeah, kind of disappeared, which was a shame. But hopefully he'll bounce back now for the EMX this weekend.
Yeah, like I said, that's a big shame. I'm just trying to see if that says anything about what happened to him, because
Well, while you're looking for that, just a shout out to Henry Williams, AMCA champion, of course.
yeah,
He had a real big crash in race one. I saw it. I saw it in front of me. It went right over the bars on the tabletop in the middle of the valley. And yeah, he was down for a time before he finally sort of hobbled off the circuit. But to come back and had a good start, ran top 10 and finished 12th in race two for Henry. That was a pretty good ride. So yeah, for an MCA guy to come in and do that, that was pretty impressive, especially how much he beat himself into the ground in that race one crash. So yeah, thankfully he bounced well.
I think the Fuzz Marsh team, who have got two AMCA British champions. I think they're second motos. I think they can be really happy with that, and I can imagine them maybe because it's a great team setup. Sadly, the AMTA Championship and the British, the ACU Motul British Championship have clashed a couple of times, but I could see that team stepping up to the British next year, which would be a great addition to the championship.
Yeah, they certainly didn't look like AMCA runners when they turned up. It's a good rig, a good setup. Yeah, they fitted in nicely. And yeah, if they want to do that championship next year, then I think they'd be more than welcome. It was certainly good to see them both putting in good days.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this pretty much covers the majority of MX2. You got anybody else to mention there, Ben?
Liam Garland had a good qualifying, 10th fastest. They were very happy with that down at the SRE powered by Garland Power Sports team. They were pretty happy with that. And yeah, Liam, as his dad says, after 10 years of injuries, he's doing okay. So 14th in race one, race two went a bit south, but yeah, hopefully that Liam will have a good weekend at Fox Hill. He usually goes well there in the right engineering race. And yeah, it'll be good to see Liam put together a whole season.
Yeah, he looks so good on a bike. When he's going well, he looks so good on a bike, doesn't he?
Yeah, a little charger. And
Yeah.
yeah, certainly you'd struggle to see him on a 450, but I mean yeah, certainly on the 250 he's perfect for that bike. And yeah, a good determined character. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to see more from him. I mean he's now 19th in the championship, so yeah, he's in amongst that sort of pack where he could move forward. It's only 10 points down on Max Verner, so yeah, he's got a decent few rounds ahead of him, we hope.
Yeah, for sure. But again, looking ahead to Duns, Tommy Searle now with his 14-point lead over Billy Askew and 15 Charlie Heyman. Again, be interesting to see what the Euro riders make of Duns and being up there in Scotland. I know that Johnny's got loads planned up there for that double header. The track will be immaculate. You can absolutely be assured of that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, that double header. How much is that going to take its toll on some riders? Who's going to sort of come to the fore on day two? That could be interesting. But again, a big points haul, from someone like Tommy Searle, he could still be crowned champion. You know, like we said about Conrad, you know, if Tommy can get four good motos in, then he could be get the job done before we even get to the final round.
Yeah, we'll see. I fully expect Conrad to stitch it up, but I think MX2's got a few more twists in store yet.
Yeah, I like to. I think there's a lot more riders that could get in amongst it. You know, if Tommy has a bad start or comes off of the bend, it's there's a lot more depth, a lot more riders to come through the pack, a lot more riders that could get one. Let's be fair, 14 points, one bad ride. You know, suddenly that points gap is closed in. It would be
Yes,
nice if that is goes to the final round.
it's the difference between first and 10th is 14 points in one
Not a
race.
lot, is it? Not a lot at all. Not when you've got like all the Euro guys and a whole gaggle of young British riders in there that could easily and any rider could easily get a 10th if they make a bad start or come off at the start.
Yeah. Want to talk 125?
Let's do 125s. Yeah, good first race, Ryan Wagger. We after Hawkston, I think there's been a bit of talk that Ryan is a sand guy, but fair play to him. He looked really, really good. He's quite a feisty rider, isn't he?
Yeah, he don't roll over easy. And yeah, Charlie Richmond hit a post, I think, with his hand. Quite a few of us have done that, me included. And yeah, I know how bad that hurts, but yeah, he was definitely affected by it. So to come back and win race two was very good. Although, yeah, Ryan did have a crash from the lead, so that was unfortunate for him. But yeah, Waggett and Richmond are taking this one all the way, I feel, in the championship because they're pretty evenly matched, or they were at the weekend. And yeah, it's an exciting championship. And of course, Waggett is, we're going right up to where he's very comfortable up in Scotland. He's
Yeah.
raced there a lot. And yeah, for Duns, Charlie's going to have his work cut out. But that's good. Let's push these kids. Let's see what they can get out of it.
Yeah, and 2 rounds as well. Like that's 4 motos, only 13 points in it in the championship. So, like I said, if Ryan Waggett gets 4 wins and Charlie Richmond's 4 seconds, that's going to leave it 1 point in it.
Yeah,
But yeah, we
these
know
kids.
Charlie Richmond is a tough character, so that is going to be interesting. I think that is probably, I think, could be the tightest battle. At Duns is the 125s.
These kids are more used to running 4 races over a weekend than the pros are. The pro guys obviously at GP level they have the quali race and the two Grand Prix races as well as all the practice stuff. So they're not going to have an issue with that. But 4 races over a weekend is going to be new for a lot of the pro riders because they haven't done it since the youth days. So yeah, you might even see the young riders in MX2 come out well on day two because they're more used to it. From just that's how a lot of the youth structures work out. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be good. Richmond and Waggett are going to take it all the way up at Duns. I can't wait for that. And don't count out Hayden Stat either. If he gets a good start, then yeah, he really dug in at the weekend. And third is a good, solid result and puts him right up, back up into that sort of top 3 championships. Maybe a bit far, but he's certainly still in the picture.
Yeah, Harry Lee, good weekend for him in 4th as well. 2 solid motos. He's just always been there. Again, pitching in with points every round. That's been good for Harry Lee. Really has.
He's inching further and further forward is Harry Lee. He held a good 4th place there. He held off Drew Stott, Lucas Moncrief. So yeah, Harry has been. It was a surprise to see Harry up there. Maybe it shouldn't be, but yeah, 4th was a really solid ride for him in race 1, and yeah, puts him in a good spot.
Yeah. Drew Stott was 5th. I think Drew will probably come away a little bit frustrated with that. Seemed to me like he struggled with starts.
Yeah, just didn't get off the gate. That's as simple as that. And around that place, it was such a key factor. So yeah, for Drew, considering he took a double win at Blacksall, battling with Charlie Richmond, as he has been all year, yeah, he would have wanted a lot more than a 6-4 scorecard. So it's his worst points haul since the opening round of Hawkstone. And yeah, it's putting 32 points back from Charlie. So that's really frustrating for him. But yeah, we'll see what he can do from here on in.
One rider not struggling for starts, local boy, Zane Stevens. Wow.
Oh, shot king.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair play to Zane. So I've known Zane from a little kid. Used to ride speedway with his dad, Simon. as well. And yeah, this was a really, really good, again, another a standout weekend for Zane because he's been there or thereabouts. But yeah, you know what I was impressed with is his pace. You know, he stayed a decent pace throughout the motos. So you know, not only did he make good starts and run with them, but he stayed up there. So sixth overall for Zane was a great result, and yeah, certainly kept you know, like Josh Gilbert, kept the local fans happy.
Yeah, it's best of the year for Zane, and yeah, you would expect that maybe for his local race, but he was right on the pace, and yeah, for sure, that's what you need to do as a young lad. Just get the starts, get yourself up there, and the pace will drag you on. And yeah, it certainly did. It's got a nice style. I know it's quite laid back, almost looked like his head's lolling asleep at one point. It's quite a weird sort of riding style. He sort of had the way he kicked it over the jump towards the finish, like just he was just distinctive every time. You sort of knew it was him on the bike. So yeah, it's not really caught my eye before, but certainly yeah, that was a good eye-catching ride, and yeah, more from him. And then the two Gloucester boys, Chris Brindley and Jack Evans, did pretty well. I thought they were right up there in the top 10 in both races.
Yeah, Chris Brindley, he was in your top five predictions, wasn't he?
Yeah, maybe I overpegged it a bit.
No, but you know, like I said, he's had a really good year. He's really stepped up, hasn't he?
Yeah, first year in the 125s for him. So yeah, he's one of those that's sort of adapting to the class, growing physically as well. You can see how much bigger he is. Hayden Statt, a similar thing. He's much taller on the bike than he was at the start of the year. So all of this, you know, the growing side of it takes that out of the rider as well. So that sometimes will be why you might see them flag a little bit at the end of the race. But yeah, they both rode well. And of course, Lucas Moncrief, fifth in race one, seventh overall. The second race, he had a crash, which put him back a little bit, but still seventh overall. Didn't fall back much in the points to those around him. So, yeah, there's more to come from Moncrief as well, especially this weekend coming.
Cool. A ninth there for Finley Pickering. Good
Yeah,
week.
down right at the back, a long way at the back in race one, Finley Pickering. So yeah, that race 2/10 is a lot better than it. That race one, 10th place was a lot better than it looks because he was about half a lap off the back of the pack. Like, you know, they've all disappeared in the distance. Then one rider comes past you, like he's got some work to do, and that was Finley in race one. He was way back. So to come through the 10th, that's a really good showing. And then yeah, his speed was done justice there by that second race, seventh place. In fact, he could almost have got higher than that, but I think he probably gave so much in race one, he didn't quite have enough to push past Zane at the end of it.
Cool. A little shout out for my nephew Corey Gordon making his British Championship debut then in with 13th overall. So fair play to him.
Yeah, rode
Um,
well.
yeah, no, good. You know, it's good, great racing. 125s, as always, great racing. Right, you don't know this, but obviously we did our predictions, and going into the weekend, there was 1 point between us. You were in the lead by 1 point, I think it was. No,
Okay, yeah.
we were tied going into this weekend. But after this weekend, um, I'm just going through. MX1 let me down. So you were basically, if we got the rider in the right position in the top five, then you get 2 points. If you've got a rider that's in the top five and you predict him top five, you get one. So you got 7 points for MX1 and I got five. You got six for MX2 and I got five. But I pulled it round then with 7 points in the 125s and you got five,
Oh,
which meant overall you got 18 and I got 17.
oh,
And then the total, obviously, we've missed a couple of rounds. We didn't do round one.
oh,
Then I
yeah.
was in a different planet for round four. So the actual total scores are you're on 48 and I'm on 47.
Ooh, tasty. Nice one.
It's tight, mate. It's
We'll
very
have to do a
tight.
forfeit. What's the forfeit? We'll have to do something. We'll sort something
Yeah,
out.
I think we should.
It's on a postcard. Any of you guys listening there who care enough to see what happens between me and Paul, send us in a forfeit on the comments.
I reckon you've got to change all your computers to Apple.
Not happening. I'll retire. I'll get out of here. No way. I'll jump off a bridge first.
So yes, that's prediction thing. Tomorrow.
Monster Mountain. Yeah, can't wait. Looking forward to this. Yeah, the Monster Masters series has been such fun, so much fun. Two great evenings of entertainment, and obviously different lineups so far because yeah, we had Jeffrey Conrad and Tommy Searle in round one, and John Adamson as well. Round two, Josh Gilbert joined the fun, and the other guys weren't there, or Conrad was there but crashed himself out of it. And Taylor Hamill also got stuck in. So yeah, they're all coming together at this last one. So we are going to have, I believe, certainly Jeffrey is confirmed. Conrad will be there. Not sure about Tommy, but yeah, for sure, they're all going to get stuck in. And yeah, the other guys, John Adamson, Josh Gilbert will be there as well, and Tom Grimshaw, of course, who's done all 3 rounds, who will be doing all 3 rounds. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, it's a real blazer of a night. It like suddenly like you're through the night really quickly. So yeah, a lot of good fun, high intense racing. A nice day to it as well. It warms up through 2 practice sessions. You can see the riders sorting out the track and getting themselves set up, and then bam into the heats from 6 o'clock at night. So yeah, cracking, really good fun.
Cool. And championship wise, because it's a 3 round series, because people have been missing rounds, do we know that? Because it's going to be a complicated one.
Yeah, I asked this question before the start of the second night, and it was basically there isn't really a championship.
Okay.
It's not there aren't anything for that. So yeah, it's not. It might be in future years, but for the first year of running it, they're just going to see how these 3 nights play out, and go from there. So yeah, in terms of a championship, there isn't really one to go for. They're calling it the super finale, which just means basically we've got everybody together. I think it's
Yeah.
but yeah, it's whatever you want to call it. It's a good night of motocross racing up at Merthyr Tydfil. So if you're anywhere near close enough, then get yourselves up there, because it is a damn good night of entertainment. And if the weather holds like this, then yeah, we're going to be needing the sunscreen up there. So it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be epic, and like I said, the super and the riders have been able to earn a nice wedge of cash as well, so it's been good for them.
Yeah, they love it. Really enjoyed it. Charlie Putnam's cashed in as well. He's done nicely, and yeah, they're all enjoying these little paydays. Taylor Hamill will be there as well, of course. So yeah, there's it's virtually a British Championship lineup, which is great. And yeah, hopefully we'll see a few more MX2 boys in as well to give Ben Musto a run for his money, if Ben's lining up, of course. But yeah, either way, you could tell that the entry list grew for round 2, so word was spreading, and it looks bigger again for round 3. And hopefully the crowd will reflect that, because yeah, it certainly will be a lot of fun. The first round, Conrad versus Jeffrey, was absolutely awesome, like real high intense stuff amongst 2 of the best to do it. So yeah, hopefully more of that, and we'll be looking for a really good night.
So straight from there, you're heading to
Straight from
Sweden.
straight from there.
Literally, it is probably straight from there, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be back here about 11:30. I'm writing the race report for them, which will take me about an hour or 2, 3 maybe, if I chill out a bit. But yeah, then it's 2:30 in the car to get to the airport to go to Sweden for the MXGP there. So yeah, I'll sleep on the plane, and that's about it.
Yeah, bloody hell. And Tim Geiser back for that one.
Yeah, Tim Geiser, Paul's Jonas back as well, so that'd be great to see 2 factory boys back in the lineup. And yeah, 9 points between Roman and Lucas. It could go all the way, so it's
Yeah.
it's entertaining. MX2 also is intriguing. Kaiser Wolf's best there, although he won the quali race last year. His best overall there has been like 4th. Even his best race finish on a GP has been 4th. So to see what he can do and see if Langenfelder can cash in, MX2 itself is going to be pretty hot. And then the support classes, lots of British interest, which is great. We've got EMX 250. Joe Brooks is riding, which is great to see Joe taking on the EMX 250 class. Billy Askew obviously will be there as well, as alongside Ollie Colmer, who's been done the whole series. Jake Davis will have a go again on the Fantic. He hasn't qualified every round, but he certainly has been giving it a shot on the Fantic there. And be good to see what Max Harris can do. Max Harris getting out there to see if he can get into the main races, because there's about a 67 rider entry list for EMX 250. So yeah, there's going to be some disappointed lads. So hopefully, the Brits won't be among them, but we'll see how it goes. And then the Blue Crew, YZ125, 85, and 65. Bit of a strange one. I've looked into the Yamaha blurb on this one, and it appears to be, well, it is just one race per class. So they'll have a practice session in the morning on Saturday, and then a race for the 65s on Saturday afternoon. And the 85s and 125s will have their race Sunday mornings. So it's just the one race for each class. For the younger classes, 65 and 85, there is support from Yamaha on the line. For the 125s, which is what Jamie Keith won last year, it's a fully supported EMX 125 ride for 2026. So British riders, we've got 4 in the 65s. Oliver Trafford, Nathan. I didn't write it down very well. Nathan Stratman, Tommy Wood, and Cameron Berry. In the 85s, Connor Thompson, and in the 125, Samuel Logan, and then some familiar names: Drew Stock, Lucas Moncrief, and Hayden Statt. Now, I don't know quite why Hayden Statt's father told me this, but he said if he wins, then they're going to America. So I don't know whether that means they're going as a holiday or if it means they're going to go and race Ironman nations, because they tend to have some Blue Crew stuff going on around the nations. Obviously, being in the States, it might be a little bit different, but apparently a win means Hayden's going to the States.
And there was an interview with Hayden as well, and he fancies his chances. He feels he should do this.
Yeah, there's no names that jump out at you would say they're EMX 125 contenders. It's been looking at the entry list. It's like, let me get this right. Hold on. But yeah, looking at the entry list, it doesn't look to be anybody that's particularly like, okay, they're obvious winners. So, doing the preview, I was like, okay, there's somebody at the Jesuit Racing Team, an Israeli rider I've never heard of. Bertram Torius actually is somebody who has been training with Lucy Barker and the family there, James as well. They're good friends with him, and he lines up for De Bart's Yamaha team, which is Lotte van Drunen's team. So yeah, he might be a name that you might think is in there, but 39 riders and nobody in there stands out as a favourite. So yeah, for me, yeah, for sure, Hayden will rub his fingers and rub his hands together and have a look. But lots and lots of Scandinavians, as you would expect, because it's one race, and obviously it helps it being local. But yeah, fingers crossed that Hayden get a good start. Ollie Holland also for Ireland is riding, so it'll be good to see what Ollie can do. I've seen him at the British Championship before. 65s. Let me just make sure I get that young lad's name properly correct. Nathan Strachan, there it is. So he's in the 65-60 class alongside Tommy Wood, who we know, Cameron Berry as well, and Oliver Trafford. So yeah, it'd be good to see what the 65 lads, what all of our guys can do in these races. It will be on MXGP TV and also on Yamaha's YouTube channel as well.
Cool. So yeah, good luck to the Brits. Like I said, Drew Stock as well, I think has got a real chance of a victory there. Yeah.
Stock feast that. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it could well be 2 Brits on the podium. We take that all day long. But, yeah, well, I better let you get on, mate, because you've got a busy week.
Yeah, race reports to write, race previews to write, and GoPro laps to organise. Yeah, all my normal stuff. And two bags, one for Monster Mountain and one for Sweden.
So that brings us to the end of this episode of the All British Motocross podcast with Dirt Hub. Thanks for listening. And yeah, we'll be back just ahead of the Duns double header then to bring you the preview and our predictions for those 2 rounds. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you around the tracks at VMXDN and all the various other meetings across the country. So keep up to date on the website for everything that's going on throughout the UK. Catch you soon.